Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters. Today we introduce a new segment, the Book Report. We're going to be speaking to award-winning veteran journalist, Brother Askia Muhammad. His book is entitled The Autobiography of Charles 67X. Brother Askia is making waves across the country, not only for his photography and his poetry, but his newly released photograph of President Barack Obama, then Senator Obama, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother Askia kept that secret for 12 years. He's going to tell us how. He's also going to discuss his book and his work, his life and his legacy. And we'll be speaking with Brother Aquil Basheer. He's in studio with us right here. This is a peacemaker extraordinaire. We're going to be talking about his book, Peace in the Hood, Ending Violence with Gang Members. Now, I didn't say that title totally correctly, but we have the book here, and we'll make sure you know how you can get that. We're going to also be appealing to you and inviting you, rather, to support the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and join the Nation of Islam and the Friends of Farrakhan as we show our love for this man who has given us over 50 years dedicated sacrifice and service to us. And so we will have a lot coming for you today. We invite you to tune in. Share a friend, morrismedialive.com, also streaming right here on my Facebook page. And now, the Justice Report. Today's Justice Report is taking from the Final Call newspaper, where we ask you to subscribe at finalcall.com. Our staff writer, Brian Muhammad, gives us an update on the case of a 17-year-old, Ulysses Wilkerson. This young man was brutally beaten 2 days before Christmas, December 23rd, by police in Troy, Alabama. The family has obtained attorney Benjamin Crump to represent them. They still have no answers. There is videotape. The videotape has not yet been released. And of course, the police are not speaking. They're saying the matter is under investigation. But according to officials, police arrested and charged the young man with obstructing justice. Also in the story, Brother Brian uncovers that really those are the charges, but they're not quite sure why he was arrested and detained in the first place. And they certainly have not been able to explain why he was so brutally beaten. And so the full story you can read by Brian Muhammad, again, at finalcall.com. Finalcall.com. And I want to add one more thing to our Justice Report. The Final Call newspaper came out today, our current edition, and on the cover story, our beautiful, beloved sister Erykah Baidu is featured. I love the picture. Thank you for that and that defense of her. It's called Defending Erykah Baidu. And what we know is that Sister Erykah has come again, not again, but she's the latest, to come under fire from the enemies of the movement for freedom, justice, and equality, more specifically, enemies of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know, brothers and sisters, and all of you listening, the enemy gives our people this litmus test. If you want to rise to fame, or if whatever field of endeavor you're in, it's what Hillary Clinton did during the elections then with Brother Barack Obama, called him on the carpet and made him effectively denounce Minister Farrakhan. Well, Sister Erykah Baidu has been faced with the same as many, many, many others. As we know, Representative Keith Ellison in his attempt or his quest to become head of the DNC, the Democratic National Party chair. You know, he was given that test, failed it tremendously and horribly, I might add. And so Sister Erica, it appears, is wading through that with grace and style. And so read thefinalcall.com. That's our cover story this week. Many, many more issues of great in that newspaper. One of the stories that I have is dealing with America and how her influence and impact across the world is declining. And this has been prophesied and warned of by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. But there's a way out. There's a way out of it for America. There's a way out of it for us. So finalcall.com for those stories. And may God bless you with a speedy recovery, Brother Ulysses Wilkerson, and all those in our families who need help and healing. Okay? That's the Liberated Sisters Justice Report. We're going to turn now to, I'm not sure, Brother Askia is a journalist. He's broadcast journalist, print. He's the editor of various outlets, and so we're going to get him on the line. He is coming fresh off of news headlines, and so as soon as we have him, then we'll let you know. Oh, actually, he is here. Okay, thank you. I'm caught up into the Justice Report. I start getting really emotional about what's happening with our people. But Brother Askia, assalamu alaikum.
Wow, alaikum salam. You worked the audience up. You got us fired up.
Well, praise be to Allah, brother, because we have some great folk, you and Brother Aquil, coming up, and we want to make sure people are ready to hear you. I'm so honored to be able to have not just one, but two giants in our community. And now let's start with you, Brother Askia. Brother Askia, we want to go into your book of poetry and photography. Certainly want to talk about this photo you released. How could you keep it a secret for 12 years? We have 12 years a slave. I'm thinking 12 years a secret. But Brother Askia, first of all, let's talk about your book. And when did you start writing it? Like, when did you decide to pen this book?
I started writing this book 32 years ago. I got a grant from the D.C. Arts Commission. I guess you can go call them up and repudiate Peggy Cooper Caprit, who gave this money to me for this book, Autobiography of Charles 67. Jim Backus, who was executive director then. But I took the money and spent it, and it took 32 years. I took them copies of the book to say, here you are. If anybody ever accuses you of wasting money on my project, you got a book anyway.
That's
so
right.
That's when it began. Mm-hmm. That's when it began. But then what happened? I had an artist who was working with me, and we had the manuscript. I had sent the photographs off to have them. They weren't being scanned, and they had to be made into negatives in those days. But I had duotone negatives made, and the artist got accepted for a master's program and left me half finished with the book. And I never was able to recover. And finally, I was able to get with a brother, and it took me 2 years to really work it out with him because I kind of stumbled. Brother Zambu Babazama Cook from Sababu Filmworks here in D.C., who does the Roots calendar, who does the Kwanzaa calendars, and he did a magnificent job, and we finally got it together. And I thank God, I thank Allah that the Autobiography of Charles 67X, the 67X is just like the X. But you have to be able to tell when Charles joined in 1940 is different from the Charles who joined in 1948. So you're 2X and 3X and 67X, and that's me.
Yeah. Wow. And who is Charles 67X? And thank you for that, Brother Askia, and thank you to those who provided that grant funding for this great book.
Yes. I'm a journalist, and I've been blessed and fortunate to walk along this path. And as I look at this book, it contains poems that are reflections and recollections of my experiences. Not journalistic experiences, but just more creatively touched influences. I mean, I was at a White House event, for example, and there's a photograph of Billy Eckstine. And so that's not hard news. And this is probably the only place that occasion has been remembered in print, but it's more artistic. And so, and the poems are, instead of an autobiography that tells secrets and settles scores and does that sort of thing, this is it's a title to take advantage of the idea that it's an X, and it's a Muslim perspective, and I think the art of it, the art of the poetry, I think the art of the photograph stands up to conspicuous merit, and for that reason, I'm thankful, and I'm proud of the work.
Brother Askia, we are proud of it and proud of you. I cannot wait to see you, God willing, inshallah, and to also pick up my autographed copy at Savior's Day. As we get more into the book, let me take an opportunity to ask, how can people get your book?
Well, we're having an opening release of the book tomorrow, Wednesday, in Washington at Sankofa Video and Bookstore.
Yeah.
And so that's the outlet, and we're working on getting distribution also, a Al-Kabilan type distributor to help us. We can go wherever we can go to get distributed. Yeah. And certainly the Breitbart folks jumped on the picture with the minister and the Senator Obama.
Yeah.
But so we'll take the distribution where we can get it. But I'd like to try to work with the brother if he'll cooperate, and we'll see what's happening. And then we're going to try to get through the hoops to get on Amazon.
Yeah.
I have to. I need a teenager to help me.
Hey, I got one. Brother Askia, congratulations again with that. Now, I'm going to ask this question, and Brother Aquil, please feel free to jump in after I ask this question, and any you want to ask or make a comment on. But Brother Askia, and I know there are many, 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 many great photographs in the book. But the one that's got people running with and pulling out their hair is the one with President Barack Obama and Minister Farrakhan. I must say, President Obama said that if Trayvon Martin, our young teenage brother who was killed by George Zimmerman in Florida, he said if he had a son, he would look like Trayvon. And I'm saying President Barack Obama looks like Minister Farrakhan. He looks like he was just one of the brothers, one of the family members, actually. But, Brother Askia, you've been on an interview circuit about that. My question is, how did you manage to keep it a secret? Because my friend and producer, Angela Birdsong, mentioned to me when I spoke about it yesterday, she said, that secret speaks to the testament of Brother Askia, because another person would have gone, a journalist would have run with that at the time. And I said, yes, it absolutely does speak to his character. But how did you hold it?
Well, fearfully, to be honest, I had written about a column, before the presidential campaign about the incident, the question that I asked Senator Obama, has anyone ever asked you if you resemble Minister Farrakhan? And he said what I thought was the perfect answer. He said, oh, he's much better looking than I am.
Good answer.
That's the answer. I've said it myself to other people. So I've written about that, and I thought, someone's going to know I've got the picture. Now, the day of the event, this is 2005. No presidential nothing has been talked about. The day of the event, a staff member from the Congressional Black Caucus called me and said, we got to get the picture. And so we talked back and forth, and I finally resolved that I would give the picture that day to Brother Leonard Farrakhan Muhammad, the minister's son-in-law and chief of staff.
Yeah.
So that it's like, okay, well, I'm actually, I work with a final call. I'll give them the picture. I will not give it to you.
Thank you. That's
and
right.
So the minister And so I kept it. You know, I was afraid that someone was going to try to see if I had it. I have to confess. I'm afraid I'd be forgiven. I didn't lie. Not give them the original, but I did keep a copy for myself.
I know you did.
And in a sense, I was sworn to secrecy because I said, I've given up the picture.
Yeah.
But when the minister started speaking about it.
That's right.
And so, and talked about he had the picture and hadn't released it and would release it soon. But then I checked with him, and he had no objection to it being in the book. And so I had a gimmick, so to speak. Yeah. Although I think it does reach the artistic level of the other celebrity photographs in the book, Frank Sinatra, Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks. So it's not a slouch picture. Just
that's right.
Putting the two men together, so
that's
a good picture.
Yeah.
But in any case, it's been a gimmick and it's gone around the world, and I'm thankful that I was the recipient and did keep it a secret because otherwise I'd have been the GOAT.
Yeah. Ooh, that would not have been a good thing to let that out. But, Brother Askia, who better than you to have that picture, right? I mean, your years in the business, just the astute ability that you have and the right place at the right time. I was so excited when I saw it. It's just a beautiful picture. Everyone, I mean, I don't, sometimes you have to really, do triple and double takes and harangue people, and get them to do this. And one's looking that way, but it was just a perfect shot. And I appreciate Sister Hazel Trice Edney and her Newswire for sending that out. I just the way you're disseminating it is beautiful. It could be on purpose, it could be by chance, but this just an Askia Muhammad thing, and I really like that.
Yes. Let me say, on keeping the secret, let me say I'm gonna out somebody else, and I'm gonna out him, and I don't think he would mind being outed. But there were at least two members of Congress who were present at the time, in addition to Senator Obama, Congressional Black Caucus members. Cynthia McKinney, who, of course,
not
she
surprised.
was there. I have heard other pictures, not the one with the minister and Senator Obama, and Charlie Rangel from Harlem was president. Now, in the 2008 election, he was Team Hillary all the way.
That's right.
Well,
wow.
He was Team Hillary.
Yeah.
But he never said, well, look, I know that Barack and Farrakhan got together, and I'm going to bust them out.
That's right.
He never said a word. He never said a mumbling word. So not only did I keep the secret, but look at one of the loyal lieutenants for the Clinton campaign up until it was clear that he shouldn't be. Charles Rangel.
Right. Right. That's a very good man. See, that's a bombshell. But it's as Minister Farrakhan says, right? The bigger picture. It's the bigger picture. Right. All of you were understanding of that. But Brother Askia, I just cannot say enough that the patience and also the obedience, right, that we have, because Minister Farrakhan, he spoke a lot about that. In one of the Savior's Days, he talked about, our people's desire for President Obama. Remember? And when President Obama was made to denounce him by Hillary Clinton, and people, they jumped on Obama, and the minister was like, okay, yeah, but he asked us, he instructed us in the nation, say nothing against this man, because our people want him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he embodied the aspirations of our people, going back to certainly Jesse Jackson in 1984 and 88, going back to what's the name from Brooklyn? Her name was on the tip of my tongue just a minute ago. Ran in 1972.
Chisholm? No.
The Brooklyn member of Congress.
Wow.
She ran in 1972. Oh, Lord.
I'm finding that. Go ahead, Brother Aquil. Go ahead, Brother Askia. We're going to find that.
Assalamu alaikum, soldier. I just wanted to salute you for your outstanding work. There's an old saying that says, he who writes the story defines the history.
Chisholm.
And we have to stop as a people apologizing for the direction we take. In the world, power speaks to power. And so I applaud you for bringing out the folder, bringing out the picture. But we have to, as you are an elder in the work, have to really make sure those coming behind us, they have to stand on resiliency. They have to stand on a moral compass, and they have to define the direction in which they want to move in. And we don't apologize to anybody for doing that. That vision and dream that we have to ascend to achieve our individual greatness, we cannot let anybody stop us in that process. And if we do, we become volunteer victims. And that's why I think people of color across the globe are in the conditions that we are in today. Until we understand that greatness, until we reinforce that greatness with a resilient and a wherewithal to be unstoppable, we are going to always be at the coffers of somebody else dictating what they need in life as opposed to what we need. So I, again, for the third time, salute you.
Yeah. And Brother Askia, as you jump in on that, Shirley Chisholm, as I said, that's right, Shirley Chisholm. That's right. You're talking about the aspirations
of our people. And so, what would I feel like had I been the one who sabotaged not just that one man's career, but the aspirations of our people?
Yes.
Just think of all the children who grew up for 8 years seeing him as the president, as they were children coming up, maybe junior high school age or elementary school age, and what is that? What effect is that going to have on them?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And on top of that, this is a man, a black man, president of the United States, and he didn't walk in that room with a name of a slave master. Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hussein.
No. And how much money would I have to have gotten 15 years ago, 12 years ago, to make it worth now to not have had that experience of Barack Hussein Obama as the first black president of the United States? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That would have been a horrible
thing. You give me all the money in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
That's
I'd
right.
have to live in there with it because my life wouldn't be worth a quarter outside of it.
That's
Fort
right.
Knox.
Yeah. It'd be you and your money by yourself. Brother Askia, thank you so much. What I do want to ask is, we're getting ready to go into our show of support and love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan segment. As everyone may know, we're headed to Savior's Day. This is the Nation of Islam's annual convention. I got to interview Brother Askia at one of our conventions. It was great. Brother Askia, I haven't released that. But I will, with your permission at one point here. But I want to ask you if you would inform people of what we're doing and why we think it is so beautiful and great that those have contributed to Savior's Day, and also why we are showing our love and support for Minister Farrakhan with the gift that we are giving, which is monetary. We're on a goal for reaching $10 million, which we will, and why it's not necessarily just for him, but he turns around and gives it to us. And as Brother Askia comments,
if you would let me, if you would allow me, I would be thrilled to say something about giving in this cause.
Okay, one second, Brother Askia. Pardon me for the interruption, but I want to just let people know that right now on my Facebook page, there's a link. And there's information more about that, a picture of Minister Farrakhan and a beautiful ribbon. And you can go there now. But go ahead, Brother Askia. In
this book, in the section 2, Sisters, there's a photograph of a woman, a Muslim woman who looks like a woman that could have been taken this past weekend in white, adjusting the headpiece for her daughter in front of a window.
Yeah.
And it's called Sunday Morning in Vallejo, California. It was taken in 1971. Her husband, I don't know the woman's name because I knew her husband, Brother Harold Tueck, the secretary of the mosque, and he loved to preach charity. And he would say this: charity is second only to prayer. in the we say that over and over. In other words, in the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yeah.
First is belief, next is prayer, then charity. Then comes the pilgrimage, the Hajj to Mecca.
Yes,
so
sir.
Charity is second only to prayer. Now, some of your listeners may be more acquainted with the way we said it in Providence Missionary Baptist Church, 35th and Trinity in Los Angeles, California. We used to sing the song, "You can't beat God giving." No matter what you do, the more you give, the more you give to you. And
That's
so
right.
it's really true. You can't beat God giving. And that's the bottom line. We have a duty, an obligation to give because to show our gratitude, just to give because this is what God does. He gives to us. And so it's so important to show support for feed the homeless, do things of charity and manumission that are good things and give. And this is a wonderful cause to give. And don't let anybody ever tell you that Minister Farrakhan has took your money. No, he's given us something worth more than whatever little pennies we've given him, and all of we put it together.
Yes, absolutely, Brother Askia. Well said, well said. And so, look, I posted it right on my Savior's Day link. The link is right on my page. You can go to Askia Muhammad for all the information about Brother Askia, as well as any link that he may have there. Brother Askia, as we, let me just make this announcement real quick. You know, this is, again, something annual. Friends and supporters, we give our expression of love to Minister Farrakhan as a show of gratitude and it's a personal appreciation for his many years of dedicated service to uplift our community. And so this year, check this out, this year marks 63 years of service. Brother Askia, 63.
63.
Some of us tank out at 10. I'm struggling with 20.
Yes.
And not even at the level that man is. But, you know, it's undeniable, his love for us. Brother Askia, your closing remarks as we let you get back to your great work.
Brother Aquil, you asking of me first?
No, I said Brother Askia.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, your closing remarks.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on this program. Yeah. I usually have to modulate my expression about joy and appreciation and what have you about the Nation of Islam, even though it's not really masqueraded very deeply in this book. Although I discovered that members of my family, including members married to Jewish persons, have heard and talked about it and are not ashamed of it. And there's nothing to apologize in this book, and I'm glad of that. And I can say I've known Minister Farrakhan. I've been with him. He says some hard things to swallow, but he's not an anti-Semite. He does not teach hatred of Jews. He does not teach hatred of white people, and that's a fact, period. And now the people who are trying to have him denounced again are so silly. There are plenty of Jewish people, Jewish Voices for Peace, plenty of people involved with Pacifica who are Jewish people. Why don't let them speak for all Jews instead of these rabid, crazy people who are making the mistake of trying to deceive black people by choosing their leaders for us? No. Minister Farrakhan is a good man, and he deserves our support.
That's right.
Yes, sir, brother. And hands off Farrakhan. You know, you've been handling those interviews. I've seen you on Fox and other places, and you know, they prove and just to point on what you're saying, they prove his point that had they known about the photo or his relationship or anything with that, Obama met with him, they would have tried to derail him. And so people keep proving his point, but you're right. This man is so loving and anti-Semite. That charge is just old. And black people are rising, and they're learning that that's not the case. And so thank you, Brother Askia, for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, and I really appreciate you. And Brother Askia is my senior editor at The Final Call. And so, a mentor in print and in broadcast journalism. I'm a very blessed woman. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Brother Askia. We love you.
Thank you, and we love you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, peace.
Wow.
So yes, that link again, Charlene Muhammad, it's right there on my Facebook page. And please show your love and support for Minister Farrakhan. I can't express enough gratitude to those of my Facebook friends and those I've contacted personally that I know would want to be a part of this, like Brother Aquil.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Automatic.
others
Automatic.
that, certainly it's their business that they did, but I'm grateful to you all. And I ask you to continue. Hit the link. There's a level. And don't let me limit you with that level. Just express your love. And thank you so much. And Brother Aquil, your comment on that as we segue into Peace in the Hood real quick.
Well, with the minister, I was fortunate. I was pre-75. So
this is my pioneer here. Thank you.
I came in at a time when the nation was really put in a very degraded light. I came straight out the Panther Party, and when you judge an individual, you need to look at the actions of that individual. Mm-hmm. And one thing about the minister is he has sacrificed his life to give the others. You look at most of the true pioneers, most of the true revolutionaries, most of those that have made an impact and an imprint in society today, and you'll see these same fundamental traits. And if nothing else, regardless of what you believe, regardless of your intake on what the man says, you judge him by his actions. You judge him by his behaviors. And if you look at those behaviors and actions, you can't help but to salute what the man has done, not only with his life, but for others in the trenches, as well as defining what marginalized communities have to face every day. We have to be able to support pioneers of that caliber and regard them and respect them as true pioneers. People of color, we have a real issue with the respect for the leadership that we've been blessed to have in front of us. And when that leadership departs, then we want to throw the accolades, etc. But I always say, let's respect in life and not in death. And so that's what I will always support. Minister, I'll always support all revolutionaries who are standing up for oppressed and suppressed people, who are trying to allow themselves to achieve that level of greatness that we all deserve.
Thank you so much, Brother Aquil, for that.
Ma'am.
And so we take you now, book report further, with Peace in the Hood, working with gang members to end violence. Here it is, and it's also there on screen. I just love it. Sister Paul, this is so professional. Look, Brother Aquil, allow me to make an announcement here. PSA. Public service announcement. I don't know where you are, where you record, but this place is so super cool, professional, warm, friendly. It is available. There are slots open. You can come do a podcast here. Sister Felicia is open the doors. We need your support. You can sponsor shows here. You can sponsor Liberated Sisters. But not only that, you can just send a donation in to the sister. This is a young, first of all, Black female, young Black woman.
Yes,
she's doing it for herself. And so when we see that, we need to uplift that. Again, I'm the first to admit, it took me, I had to catch up to this. Calling myself a liberated sister. I'm like, are you really liberated? Because as a liberated sister right in Lindbergh Park, you need to support her. And so we are asking you to support Mars Media Center. Please support Morris Media Center. You can go right to her website and find out how you can do that. Sister Charlene is asking you to support this place and support this sister. And thank you, Sister Portis, for being here. She's got, when we talk about paying dues, I think it goes beyond that.
Yes.
This sister has built many, many empires that are still long lasting. And we know and we will not forget. And we thank you and we wish you so much more success. So come on, everybody. Support Morris Media Center.
And I want to do one step further. I want to throw a challenge out there to all these, and especially to my brothers who claim to be true revolutionary leaders, etc. I've known poetess for decades, and this sister has always been in the struggle. She's never compromised.
Never.
And she has went up against some extreme barriers that would have broke a lot of backs of many. So my challenge is stop being armchair revolutionaries, get up and support that which is going to move us to a greater direction, to a greater greatness. This sister has done outstanding work, and she's a real general.
Yeah.
So definitely salutes to poetess and salutes to all the people that you have lifted. I'll throw that also to sister, my sister to my right, Sister Charlene. She's always been a general in the process. And when you look at individuals who are trailblazers, when you look at individuals who have went against the grain to build, develop, inspire, you have got to support that, whether you choose to or not. It's not a choice. It's a mandated responsibility. And so let's give both of these sisters our support. Let's get our back, and let's show that we do feel love and care for our women as well as everybody else that is in our circumference of peace in our circle, so to speak.
Wow. Alhamdulillah, Brother Aquil. Thank you for that. All praise is due to Allah.
Yes,
I want to give a shout out. There's a great lineup here. You can see the shows that are produced here right on the website. But I want to give a special shout out to Sister Lita Heron and Brother Skip for Gang Talk. I mean, when we talk about ceasefire, and again, I just saw Brother Jaime's post last night. I think it was a 9-year-old. It could be a younger child, but this is the second one in the recent weeks that I have learned of. Our last show, I talked about No More Miracles. The teenager, 15-year-old Miracle McGowan, riding with her mother, killed in the car. This baby caught in the crossfire, sleeping in bed. Brother Aquil, that brings us to peace in the hood, working with gang members to end the violence. Let me just, if I could, Brother Aquil, read something from the introduction. And, as I told him, he's the book. So to be able to talk to him right now is not lost on me, but I just want to read something that kind of touched my heart. And this is called One Bullet at a Time. This is from the introduction. So this is the unseen work. Peace in the hood. This is the unseen work of hardcore street intervention. It takes a lot of guts, but rarely, if ever, results in any glory. Now, pause. Right there, we done lost 1 million people.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if we can't get this, then what's the work for?
Yes,
we can't get the praise, which belongs to God. What really is it for? So
Real
right
talk.
there, I'm like,
Real talk.
we know this is, a brother right here talking the business and walking the walk. So it continues his introduction. Come back. Results are often measured in what didn't happen, not what did. That's the goal of violence intervention, to stop the bloodshed on our streets in a way that law enforcement and others can't. We stop it from the inside, not the outside. Pause. First, we got to be able to get on the inside.
That's right.
You're just not going in the inside of gang culture. You're not just going to walk on the inside of a black family reunion or, 4 black people talking at the barbershop.
It's real talk.
You need an invitation. I'm going to continue. Let me stop editorializing here.
You're doing a fine job, sister.
This is for me. This show is for me. Intervention and prevention are major tools of the fight against violence. They don't replace some of the traditional measures: social services, schools, parenting, law enforcement, and personal development, which are all essential pieces of the equation. Instead, intervention and prevention works alongside those elements and bring expertise and authority that other agencies lack. We have been there. This is true. We have lived the violence. In my view, we need all the tools and skills we can lay our hands on if we are to combat the epidemic of violence in our society. My mission is a holistic one: to repair broken communities, stop bloodshed, and attempt to provide hope to many individuals who have lost faith. This is Brother Aquil Basheer,
Yes, ma'am.
Peace in the Hood, written with Christina Hogue. Brother Aquil.
Well, thank you, sister.
Thank you.
To everybody listening, may peace be with you. Look, when we talk about violence, we've got to clearly understand something. Violence is a science. we have got to present and produce a comprehensive violence prevention, intervention, and recovery strategy. See, when you deal with violence, you don't interpret violence and let it dictate the dynamic. What you have to do is you have to study violence like a vicious animal that'll take your life. Violence is not a natural occurrence in terms of engagement. Most people that engage in violence are pushed to that perspective because other options have failed. And when you stop and understand the nature and the dynamic of violence, violence by nature is a causatic force, which means to destruct. So if you don't prepare yourself for the mindset of violence, if you don't prepare yourself for the characteristics and behaviors and actions of violence, what's going to happen to you is you're going to be either severely injured or terminated because of that violence. Wow. This is what I have to explain to my good brothers and sisters who do gang intervention work. What they have to understand is gang intervention, or the dynamics of gang, is a normality that certain individuals have taken on. But gang intervention is one component of a much larger nexus of violence in general. You have basically three types of violence. You have interpersonal violence, you have self-directed violence, and you have collective violence. And if you don't understand the traits of that violence that you're engaged with, you're not going to be able to counterbalance that violence. Usually in a community, in most marginalized communities, which are communities of color, they're all plagued with violence. Violence is the first thing that has to be dealt with, because without dealing with violence, what you do is you don't deal with the petrification. You don't deal with that stoppage that causes people to take ownership. We always talk about community mobilization. Well, if you don't deal with the fear factor of violence, if you don't deal with that thing which is causing the stoppage of that ownership in terms of that community being owned by the people that are in that community, what you're going to do is have people become very defensive. And in the nature of violence, Sister Charlene, if you let the exterior dynamic control the circumstance, what happens is you're going to always be on the defensive. And that's exactly where the nature of violence, that violence beats wants you to be, because you're always playing catch up. The goal of violence intervention, violence prevention, is to become proactive and get ahead of that violence. So now you can interpret, you can ID, you can prepare, you can plan, and then most importantly, you can engage with the eradication of fear.
Wow. And we would like to take your calls for Brother Aquil. I don't want to be selfish. You can speak with him. Give us a call right here, 323-293-3375. The number's on the screen. Give us a call if you would like to speak with Brother Aquil Basheer. Brother Aquil, what do you think about the sentiment that it begins in the home? And what do you, that's one question. Yeah. Let me not double up on you.
No, go ahead.
I can
multitask or multithink.
I'll throw 4 questions on a person and wonder why. Because I ask that because a lot of times, there's still something external that may be impinging on the home.
Right.
And as you said, those other social services play a part. But people like to say that as a dismissive thing sometimes, some people. Well, it starts in the home. True. Yeah. True.
But what if that home is dysfunctional by the outside societal factors that cause that dysfunctionality to exist in the first place? See, when you're talking about changing the psychological direction of an individual, when you talk about changing and redirecting the psychological anti-destructive nature of a community, you have to understand the norms which move that community. And if my norm has been of a marginalized nature, meaning that I haven't had the economic capability to move my family forward, I haven't had the external tools to create equitable services to raise me to that height of effectiveness where I can move in the process, or if I haven't had the proper food in my community, which causes me now to become physically damaged because I'm constantly eating a diet based on grease, based on filth, etc. You've got to weigh all these things, and then you've got to look into that venue and say, me as an individual, if I'm going to change this nexus, what do do I have to do? Can I meet the needs of that community or those individuals I am going to affect change with? And so what happens is, again, if the family needs are not being met, or if the normality of that family has been the constant use of violence because of generations of that violence being the curse that family has stood on, that is their normality. So you can't come in there and say, do A, B, and C, or have these options, because the only thing they understand is that. So what you've got to do is you've got to respect that family's culture. You got to step into that situation and create a cultural understanding. That might take you a day, it might take you weeks, it might take you years. And then with that understanding, you've got to slowly provide options that changes the thinking process of the individual that has engaged and has adopted violence as a social norm for them to operate from. Violence is not a game. And see, when you step into this work, I don't step into this work. I'm not in this work for applause. I'm in this work for a cause. And you have got to commit yourself to that environment, because violence is so entrenched, and it's not only entrenched in marginalized communities. When you look at the nature of the existence of our country, America has used everything under the collective bannerism of that three-pronged violence to achieve its goals. And so when my external societal factors are saying the use of violence is acceptable, why do you not think that those who don't have a better option or a better means are not going to use what they see on a consistent basis? Every time you turn on that TV, you see violence. Every time you hear that radio, you see violence. And if I don't have that balancer, if I don't have those tools in my internal structure, my family structure, to tell me, no, this is imbalanced, you need to fall back over here because this is the normal thinking process, guess what? My norm is going to become that inherent violence that I see exteriorly and interiorly on an ongoing basis.
There's always a root to the problem. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. This is Liberated Sisters. I'm speaking with Brother Aquil Basheer. Brother Aquil, now in Peace in the Hood, you know, as a very private person, you opened up.
Yeah, it was hard.
It was hard.
It was hard.
What was the hardest part about penning the book?
Well, let me give you a little gist of why I penned the book, and then I think I'll get to the hardest part.
Great.
The book was probably the hardest thing for me to ever do. I've been doing hardcore street engagement, violence intervention for over 43 years. Wow. 43 years, 7 months, 9 days, and 10 hours.
Wow.
Okay, I can give it to you the moment I started. And what was hard was sitting down and really going back into traumatized pain that I've had, that drove me in this process, that I've had with families and individuals that I've dealt with, and then putting that in a format to where I could bring that out. Now, it was the best thing I've ever did because it has left a template. It has left the foundation for others to be able to take the knowledge that I have been blessed with. And let me say this, Sister Charlene, when you're blessed with knowledge, it's not yours. If you do not give that knowledge and raise others with that knowledge will be taken away from you.
Right.
So I understand when you acquire knowledge, you become a vessel to spread that. So I knew what I had to do was leave a template. See, in dealing with violence, we have to clearly understand the way you deal with violence is through building systems, building processes, and then building methodologies that are going to be able to give an individual the ability to become strategic in terms of the way they operate. See, most of us, when we deal with violence, is from a very reactionary perspective, which means that we allow our emotionalism to take over as opposed to strategically planning what we're going to do, what, when, where, why, how, why am I moving, what are my risk factors, what are my risk triggers, what am I going to do, what is my plan B, what is my Bravo, what is my Charlie. See, this is an ongoing process, and this is the way you got to think with the viciousness of violence. So in penning the book, probably the hardest things I had to bring out in that book were some of my own personal experiences. I've held certain traumas for over 30, 35 years. And one of the things I'll say about my co-author, Christina, she was able to bring some of these things out that I would have never brought to the forefront.
Wow.
But I knew I had to bring them out if the book was going to be real. And the other thing is, each of my chapters in the book start with an actual engagement, a story on the street that I've been engaged with for over 40 years that has either cost somebody their life or either traumatized me, etc. I mean, there are things in that book that that, like I said, sister, I probably would have went to my grave with.
Wow.
But if I could move forward, one of the reasons and I've got to salute my team. I got an outstanding team of individuals, both male and females, which have worked with me. You know, we train all across the nation. We train internationally. We just got back from the United Nations, educating them on how to engage these communities. And I only say that to say, building those systems, as I talked about it a minute ago, if you build a proper system, if that system is validated, if you got credibility, and if that system is based on a hypotenuse that works, people are going to gravitate to it. I don't care who you are, what you bring to the table, what you look like. And we've had that experience. So one of the things that has given me the effectiveness, I think, to be able to work with these communities like I have is my own trauma. See, I've got so much blood on my hands. I've pulled together so many lives. I've lost so many lives. And after a time period, you build up a resiliency, a resistance to the violence, because if you allow it to effectively move you, you will not be effective. So I've had stories in the book that I've had to bring out that I recessed in the back of my brain that I never wanted to touch again, but I had to bring them out. And because of that pain, because of that, the feeling of what the people who are in this pain of violence go through, I know at the end of the day, if we don't bring real answers and solutions, I know what these people are going to feel because I felt it myself. This is why it's so imperative. If you're going to step into this world of violence, community intervention, you better have some damn credibility. You better have some feet on the ground, and you better engage this community. You cannot do this work from an ivory tower or a research center or a university headquarters. You've got to get out there, get your bare feet on that ground, and feel the texture. You've got to feel the smoothness or the roughness. You got to, when you step on that pebble, feel that pain come up. So when you push the process, your passion and drive is based on the needs of the people that you are there to serve.
Are y'all listening? Because I'm caught up. Brother Aquil, you have to, I hear you saying, you really need to love the people that you're coming to help.
Ma'am.
You can't be from a standoffish perspective, like you can't have this mass amount of money or this mass amount of equipment or tools. There has to be a connection there.
The thing that has saved me in numerous, I've been in communities in Washington, Newark, where my brother Aquil, a good friend of mine, doing some outstanding work with the Newark Street team. My brother Louis Argyle in Montgomery County. I've been all over, and I've been able to go into these communities. The first thing I do is I spend 2 or 3 days on the ground. It is that love that I have for the people that have gotten me in doors that I would never be able to go through. People can feel when you care for them. See, a lot of us who come in with so-called leadership in our communities, we think it's our privilege and it's our eliteness that we're bringing to people something that they should acknowledge and humbly submit to that expertise. No, leadership is chosen, Sister Charlene.
This is true.
Leadership is chosen, and a real leader understands that their role is temporary. So if you're coming into a community to help that community has to dictate what those needs are. You got to create a structure to meet those needs. And then you got to humbly remove yourself in the process when that community starts to move itself forward. If a real leader has been involved there, the community, you won't even know a leader has been there. So
it's not a takeover mentality. No. It is a service mentality.
It's a service.
Yeah.
That you're coming in there to serve the people. You're not coming in there to dictate to the people. You're coming in there to tell the people, I am an augment to you and what you want to do. What can you extrapolate from me? Every time I go into a venue where I'm bringing some expertise, we'll always have a sit down. First thing I'll do, indigenous people, is always ask for permission to speak. So I'll make sure that community understands I respect it. They give me that permission to speak. Then I want to hear from that community because I want them to tell me what they need as opposed to me as some supposed expert telling them what they need, and then help them devise an infrastructure that is going to be able to meet their needs at the end of the day and become an augment to help them get where they need to go. That's what the book does. It creates foundational templates. It creates blueprints. I don't want you to do it. You won't be able to do it like Aquil. But you'll be able to do it like Sister Charlene. You'll be able to do it like Sister Poetess. You'll be able to do it like Brother Charles. The bottom line is take the best and reject the rest. This is a piece for you to use to help build your infrastructure to move you forward. And if more leaders in these marginalized communities would adopt this mode of thinking, we would be much further than where we are. That's one of the reasons why I respect the minister so much. He thinks in this fashion. He is not looking to be a statue that people praise for the rest of the day. We are told that, look, take me, stand on my back, and make it better than I made it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's funny, when I'm in the prisons, Sister Charlene, one of the things I do with the brothers all the time, and I think I told you this before, the first thing I ask them is I walk in, and after we make the introductions, after I get the permission to speak, I'll tell them, okay, where is my replacement?
That's right.
I'm looking for my replacement in this venue. Your job is to extrapolate and take everything away from me that I got. My job is to get you everything that I can give you. But keep in mind, while I'm left here, I'm in motion. I'm going to be moving. So it's not going to be given to you. You're going to have to earn it. I'm going to give it to you if you want it. So you got to be hungry. You got to show me that you got a drive and a desire that you're going to take this, you're going to do something with it, you're going to build it, and you're going to move the community forward.
Yeah, I do see that because, you know, we wait on just one person or two people to do something, and then we pounce on that or criticize that, or they should have done it this way, they should have done it that way. But as you just said, add to it. Pick it up and make it yours. You know, the people that you're helping, the so-called gang members, they're in a time right now that's never been before. Yeah. You know, we're taught that they're in the fullness of Satan's time. So any of the gang problems from the decades ago are triple now.
Well, and you got to look at, when you look at the characteristics of gangs, you'll see fraternities have the same characteristics. You'll see law enforcement agencies, the same characteristics.
Straight up gang.
If I flip this back, you know, one of the things we want to do, one of the things that I do in my training institute, the Professional Community Intervention Training Institute, is we want to put the public back in public safety. So what we end up doing is we're trying to train the public how they can be their best agent to move the process forward. Look, when you look at people who are imbalanced or their normals off, most violence comes from the inability to control stress. See, we downplay that way too much. Stress puts you at a state of imbalance. And then if stress is not dealt with, my sister, it turns to distress. So when distress comes, the bomb or the explosion that's going to happen gets bigger. Wow. If the distress is not dealt with, it turns into disaster. If the disaster is not dealt with, it turns into catastrophe. What you see with these mass shootings that are going on across the country, it's reached a point of catastrophe where the people feel they have no options to deal with the violence. This is their only way out. And so if the capability of me getting some basic balance back into my life. This is when they talk about trauma-informed care. All trauma is, sister, is the point of where stress and distress meet. That's where trauma comes in. So at the end of the day, you don't deal with the symptoms. You've got to deal with the root cause. What society has been doing and what we do in a lot of our communities is we deal with the symptom. And so we put a Band-Aid on the violence. It stops for a month, 6 months, etc. But then it comes right back around because we have not dealt with that causative factor that has caused that violence. We haven't dealt with the individual stress and the risk factors that the individual is up against and that community is up against, hence that societal perspective is up against. So until we understand, we have got to bring concepts, formulas, etc. Violence is a science. It leaves indicators. It lets you know when it's coming. It lets you know how it's going to engage you, and it leaves a trail as to what is done. So if you just study those three components, what you'll be able to do is interpret when it's going to arrive again and prepare yourself for it.
Wow, Brother Aquil. You know, Brother Reverend Benny Taco Owens would always say, we called him one time, there was something going on, and we just happened to, I just happened to have just recently spoken to him. I said, let me call, and he said one of the things in the community, a statement is when the writing goes up, meaning the tagging and the graffiti. When the writing goes up, then the body's going down.
Yes.
And that's one of the signs, right?
Well, look, real quickly, it is. But, Charlene, let me be very honest. There's common denominators. When I deal with my hardcore gang environments, which I've dealt with all over the world, in China, in Africa, in the jails of El Salvador, I look for common denominators. So when I come back to a community, I'm looking for those universal common denominators. Those are my start points. Those are my reference points that gives me the ability to start my engagement. And then what I see based on years of experience, what I'm told by that community, then that's where I'm going to go into my toolbox.
Yeah.
The concept of a good interventionist is to develop a comprehensive toolbox to where they can make the best judgment calls and bring out the right tool for the given situation. It's too many of us in the world of violence. Look, it's some outstanding individuals on the ground right now that I'll salute, that I get full support. And then again, there's some damn biscuits and busters out there that are up here trying to live off this work, live off the pain of our people. And I will call them out and always have called them out. I get a lot of resistance from individuals who have compromised themselves. This is not a game. This is my life. And the generals who have been in this work for decades, we have gave our life to this work. We have gave our life to this community. So I will put a warning out there to those that are thinking that they are supposed to build their house on a hill with the blood of our people. You better beware, because your time will be called and your people are going to hold you to the mantle for what you have done and what you have not done. Re-engage. And if you say you out there on the street putting in work, damn it, put in work.
Brother Aquil.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're quite okay, brother. This is a call that really is necessary. Brother General Jeff was here for our last show, and his sentiment was the same, brother, to the nonprofits. Now, I didn't say it then, because I didn't want it to come off as invalidating. But one thing because that's not what we want to do. But one thing I do know, and of course, this is clear as well, and I think Brother General may think the same thing. But there are some good people behind nonprofits doing good work. But what you're saying is similar to what he's saying, that there are people who are pimping the pain of our communities. And there are some, this is true. And there are some who are making livings. Our people, the violence that our youth are experiencing, their murders, that feeds a lot of people.
We have some outstanding groups, and that's why I qualified first in saluting them. We have some outstanding individuals on the ground that have given their life, lost family members, inclusive of myself, that are doing this work. But we've got to realize as a community, we have got to stop apologizing for our dysfunctional individuals who claim to be leaders, who claim to be moving the process forward for our benefit, and don't do what they're supposed to do. Yeah,
I salute you for that, brother. And I also want to say, and as you see, the picture's right there, Peace in the Hood, but there's also this documentary, The Black Jacket. The Black Jacket. Now, this is a hardcore plan to transform South Central. Brother Aquil, who put this together? And this outlines more of your work, right? Because I want to talk to you about the UN message that you gave, but tell us about The Black Jacket.
Real quick, The Black Jacket is our second documentary. Our first documentary was called License to Operate. License to Operate is a term that's used with individuals who have gained credibility from the community to go in and be able to navigate different neighborhoods and go into venues to where the normal person cannot go in because of that credibility. So it showed the broader perspective of the work of peacekeeping, not only in the hood with the gang environments, but the larger perspective of community resiliency, etc. Black Jacket specifically takes you into our training center. It gets down and dirty. It gives you the hows of how we were able to navigate, the protocol that we use, the operational structure that we're able to engage these communities with. And so, again, just like the book, Sister Charlene, these are also roadmaps. Like I said, I'm way past the point of fame and glam. What I'm looking for is to make sure that my legacy when I leave here is going to be written that Aquil took up space, and in that time he had here, he put something down. A good friend of ours who did some work with us through A Better LA, which was a very viable organization that did some outstanding work for our communities. They did a small sizzle reel, and then because of that, he really saw our work, and he wanted to institute a piece that showed our 18-week. Our institution is an 18-week institution. We get down and dirty. It's practitioner-based, etc. So the Black Jacket really shows trials and tribulations. It shows the successes. It shows the failures. It shows how we get the work done. Yeah. And so the three work together.
Brother Aquil, I think that is great. We're going to wound up soon, like wrap the show. I want you to come back for a full hour.
My pleasure.
God willing, the underwriting kicks in, and we can have you for 2, because this is this violence is a major issue. I know President Trump has his State of the Union address tonight. I know some people are still reeling over Sister Omarosa Manigault being kicked out of the White House, and there's all kinds of other different things that people are concerned about. But our youth and our children and the families that are being destroyed, we can never get away from that.
Yes,
we can't be, and they're not. And these are right in our homes. And so the work that you're doing is very important. I really want you to come back in March.
Love being here.
If you could. Yes. We're gearing up for Savior's Day. We got a couple of special editions coming up in February. But Brother Aquil, let us know if there's anyone listening. Well, not if, because they are. I see you tuning in. But what I want to ask is, for families or youth out there that are struggling with this, because you've given a great poignant message to those who are in intervention and those who are playing like they're intervention, but to families and to youth listening that are needing a word, something they can do right now if they're on the edge. Could you give us a message of hope?
Know the resilience that is within you will manifest. There's a saying, specifically in Quran and other holy books, that says, through adversity comes greatness. So I would say, don't give up. I would say that your situation that you're in is temporary, and understand that. Everything in life is temporary, and you will get through it. But what you need to do is reach out to those of us that possibly have some expertise to help you and create a safety net with your resilience. Our book is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's all over the web. Our headquarters is right on Vernon and Normandy. We are in the hood purposely, and we stay in the hood. And come by and visit us. Anything that we can do to help you, but know that you're not alone in the process. Know that you can get through it, and know that man was endowed for greatness, engineered for success, and endeavored for victory.
I love it. Brother Aquil, he said Amazon. I was going to say, how can we get the book? He did say that. And any last remark today?
First of all, again, I want to salute you, Sister Charlene, outstanding. I want to salute Sister Poets. And I think what we have to do as a community, let's look inward. Let's build our own reality and quit letting others dictate and define where we're moving. And let's love, honor, and respect each other and use each other to define the picture at the end of the day that we want to tell.
You heard it here from a pillar in our community, Brother Aquil Basheer, co-author or author of Peace in the Hood. And so I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Also remember the documentary, The Black Jacket. That's second of 2. And I want to thank again Sister Felicia, the poetess Morris. Please, Morris Media Center to support, call, email, get with her on Facebook. But whatever you do, shoot in your support to Sister Felicia right here at Morris Media Center. I want to thank you again, Brother Aquil, for being with us. Thank you, Brother Askia, for taking time out. Brother Askia is doing the news, so he stopped to talk with us, and I appreciate that. FinalCall.com. Subscribe, read, share the articles. And I want to say thank you so much to Sister Angela Birdsong, our producer. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Reach me at liberatedSisters@gmail.com to find out how you can support the show. And if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.
Peace.